All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dota Radio Morning Show. A very short break today because we do have a lot of awesome content coming your way, and we want to keep the show rolling. Again, our guest is going to be joining us in a couple of minutes here, but we're going to get things kicked off in part two with talking points for today. Woohoo! Oh, man, I didn't set up this overlay all the way. Oh, bad production. There we go. You guys got a little preview of what we're going to see. Sorry about that. All right, we are back in Talking Points, guys. What is a live show without a little bit of production issues here? So today in Talking Points, we are going to talk commercials. Internet versus television and some of the differences. This is a really relevant issue to the guest or bringing on, because one of the complaints with the Netolic Pro League over the past weekend was that commercials were being run mid-game. We later learned that was from previous mods, sort of abusing their power, if you will, intentionally griefing, so it was not necessarily intentional in terms of trying to monetize in the middle of a match, but it still brings up an interesting question. Of real TV versus internet. And there's a pretty obvious dichotomy, I think, between how much commercial time we have on esports related streams and how much commercial time we have in traditional television. So let's take a look at some of the things we've got on the docket here. First, we're going to start off with the Twitch rule. If you're not a Twitch streamer, you may not know about this, but they now have it locked in that you cannot have a commercial break more frequently than once every 8 minutes. And recently, semi-recently at least, Twitch has changed the way their commercials work, where it used to be all of them were 30 seconds and you just keep hitting that commercial button as many times as you want. Now you set how much time you want that commercial break to be for, between, I think, 15 seconds or as much as 3 minutes. It's either 15 or 30 seconds for the shortest, up to 3 minutes. And regardless of what time you choose, you can only run that once every 8 minutes. So you can't just abuse, spam commercials, what have you. So that's kind of cool, but we've set this precedent in especially MOBAs, that commercials will never be run during the game, not even pauses. Think about American football, for those of you Americans out there, North American football, if you will, right? There are commercials anytime they can work it in. Any timeout, any call on the play, any option, any opportunity of a 2 or 3 minute window where they can get some advertising in, they're going to go for it. And we have totally ixnayed that from the realm of possibilities in terms of esports streams. And I think for good reason, because matches are very important. Everything that happens can influence the way the game's going to turn out. And if you miss a big item pickup, if you miss a gank, miss any sort of significant play in a commercial break, it's really frustrating, right? You come back from the commercial and you're like, well, what happened? That sucks. Why can't you just wait till after the match to roll commercials? And I can understand that mindset because I agree to some degree. But I think we need to find ways to mix in other pieces of advertising. In my opinion, commercial breaks are going to change in esports, and I don't think there's any way around it. The average TV talk show has 36% of its content filled with commercials. That is an absurd amount. Some shows are less. That sounds like a high number. Some are a little bit less, and they get that additional ad fill with product placement, like shows like The Price is Right and stuff like that, where they have really direct product placement right there. Even go back to the 90s, Nickelodeon, Legends of the Hidden Temple. Oh, you're not going away empty-handed. You win nerds, and they show the big nerds box and all that stuff. That counts as advertising, so you can't just think about it as commercials when you look at statistics like this. There's a huge jump from that. 36. Think about how many commercials you see on Beyond the Summit or something like that. It's nowhere close to 36%. And I think that's going to change. As we've seen with some tournaments, it's not a very lucrative market right now. And I think something's going to have to change in the future of we need to find more ways to monetize the lengthy content we have in esports. I mean, even just look at this show right here. We're on air for over 60 minutes, 3 days a week. We take one break, and that's reserved for commercials. We don't bother running commercials when we have less than 100, couple hundred viewers or what have you. But that's our one commercial break. We're not monetizing our time on this show very well from that standpoint. And it's difficult in our esports environment because of that precedent that's been set. So like I said, this paradigm is going to change. There's absolutely no way that our industry will grow and move into the mainstream at the way it is unless we change the way that we advertise on stream. And it doesn't just have to be commercials, right? The real question is how. And instantly we jump to, well, you can't have commercial breaks during games. One thing I think we could do is run commercials during pauses. I think that's one thing that could be done that if big streams did it would get flack for. So it's kind of not worth it for them to do it right now, but I think that's one thing that will change over time. But I'm going to say it doesn't have to be commercial breaks. I think as an industry, we need to get more creative with our advertising. When was the last time you heard a broadcaster plug in, oh man, I got a headache, maybe you should check out Advil? We don't have any kind of those semi-ad-libbed, casters filling advertising with what they're saying. That's one thing that we absolutely don't do. We also don't really tolerate stream pop-ups, right? Why not, during a match, have a very well-timed, maybe 15-second ad that covers a third of the screen, a quarter of the screen, whatever it needs to be. During a lull in the action, one of those Asian matches where everyone's just farming for 30 minutes, throw a couple of ads up on the stream. Monetize that content, right? And there's another concept that I haven't seen a lot of streams, companies, organizers do in esports, which is what I call segregated ad space. Notice how we introduce the Dota Radio Morning Show. Welcome back to the Dota Radio Morning Show, presented by Dota Radio, the internet radio for Dota 2, right? We do that because we don't have any advertisers right now. We don't have any sponsors. We're brand new. But that right there, we're saving that ad spot. That's a specific advertising space that someone will be able to buy in the future. Welcome back to the Dota Radio Morning Show, brought to you by Raid Call. Sign up today for your free whatever, right? Have you ever seen, like, at the opening of the Daily Show, that thing flies in at the bottom. It says, powered by Pico, or whatever company it is. Powered by Amazon, right? Those are individual advertising spaces that nobody really capitalizes on. We see these big kind of global sponsors, like, oh yeah, Team Liquid, sponsored by the little app factory. That's great, but we don't have that sort of next level of creative push to get those sponsors out there and really monetize our industry. That's one of the biggest problems we have as an industry right now. There's not enough money for the amount of people that are fighting for it. So I think things will change in the future. I mean, when was the last time you heard a player saying a tagline like, Yahoo Soda, just drink it, at the beginning of an interview, right? I've never heard a player say anything like that. Usually it's, so do you want to give any shout outs? Yeah, I think we're sponsored by Razer, QPad, a couple others. There's a total lack in PR training with a lot of our pro players, and I think that's another area where advertising has to grow, but that's a whole nother topic. But those are our talking points today. Charlie, Hippie, either of you want to add to it there, or tackle that large rant I just applied?
I think Charlie can do it better than I can.
Oh man, that's a huge can of worms. As far as the players play, I think that has to that's almost entirely to do with the maturity of our scene. Almost entirely the maturity of our scene. So players should absolutely plug their sponsors better. Players should represent them better. They should remember all of them at the end of interviews. For the most part, everybody works on that, but it's like right now this isn't it's not a priority for them because this isn't a job. I mean, well, it is a job, but it's not something that most players can make a livable wage out of. So when they play this game, it's purely for the love of the game, or almost purely for the love of the game. And so their goal is to win, not really to make a lot of money or to make this into a viable career path. Mm-hmm. So it's to win. Their priority isn't to remember their sponsors. It's to remember what the other team picks. So for the most part, all these guys have a lot going on in their other lives. And so that they do need time to just take a break from Dota and just like relax on their own.
Yeah.
So they're doing a bunch of other stuff, and they're not professionals just yet. So it's just about maturity in the scene, and eventually it'll get there as the game gets bigger, as the scene just gets more professional overall.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're absolutely right, and ultimately I probably should have practiced this talking points out a little bit, because at this point we're sort of moving into two conversations. One is sort of player professionalism and plugging sponsors, and the other, where I was originally coming from, is streamers. People more like us, more like tournament organizers, and that kind of stuff, because ideally player monetization comes from salaries and their teams handle all that other stuff. I was thinking more in the way of tournaments and trying to monetize the tournament content, because I think especially tournament organizers, that is a very, very sort of high margin, low net kind of an operation right now where a lot of these organizations are kind of happy to break even or make a little bit of money after they've paid some people, and of course they're forced to use volunteers in some cases. But no, you're absolutely right about that. And the next step is also just going to be having more press availability. Look at the end of every sporting event. How does Dan Patrick get all of his content? Well, because after every game, the players are forced to sit in front of the camera, answer interview questions, make statements, and do all that stuff. We don't have that now. It's kind of rare after a match is complete to have an interview with the winner. And even when you get an interview, usually it isn't really all that interesting. It's usually, why did you pick this hero? Why did you pick that hero? Okay, I'm not going to bother you. I see you're tired. See you later. That's not really a time when you can drill players with any sort of interesting kind of questions for the most part. So another area where our scene has to evolve. But an interesting topic nonetheless. Just food for thought, guys. There's always, it always pains me when I see one of those League of Legends players that holds like 25,000 concurrent viewers just sitting there on his stream, scratching his face, not talking, not even listening to music, just like, yeah, I'm going to look at my masteries now. It's just like, dude, you don't realize how much money you could be making with that kind of an audience. Not even just an ad revenue, just put a logo up on that stream. Like, 25,000 people is a lot. That's more people than are watching some channels on television right now. I think there's a lack of realization in the industry as a whole of how to monetize our massive amounts of content, because we don't have a lack in content. We have a lack in professionalism and a lack of business development on kind of a macroscopic perspective. But let's go ahead and get our guest on here, guys. This episode's already wrong one. Every day, I swear, come up with the talking points that I think are going to breeze right through. 45 minutes later, I'm still going on. Let's add our guy to the call and see if we can get him in here. Hopefully he's ready for us. Told him 10 minutes, almost exactly 10 minutes ago. Hello? Mark, if you're with us, we can't hear you.
Hello?
Oh, there we are. Hello.
Okay.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So, I want to make sure these titles are correct. You are the CEO of the Netolic Pro League and also the manager of Speed Gaming. Is that correct? Am I already?
No, I'm actually the founder. I created Netolic, and I am the CEO and manager of Speed Gaming.
Okay, I got you. So, you're founder and then CEO / manager of Speed, and they are separate projects. That's correct?
Yeah, they're totally different projects.
Totally different. Okay. Give us some of your history. Walk us through how you got into esports. I mean, becoming, either the founder of a large tournament series or the CEO / manager of a team. Both of those are sort of huge achievements in esports. To do both of them, how did you get to where you are in esports now?
Okay. First of all, everything that just happened recently came through my work, because I'm actually working for a gaming company, which is N Games. I'm the manager there for the Latin market. And most of my connections with Ray Cole, same as the same sponsor, which is my own company, started by that. That's how we launched Netolic TV, because before we were just Netolic, and that's how I got into connections with the Chinese community in order to get pretty much the owner who's now, because we have a founder, two owners for Speed Gaming, and they hired me in order to get this project going.
Awesome. It's always interesting to hear how folks get involved in esports, because everyone has kind of a different track. So obviously the big topic of discussion is going to be that sort of Reddit outcry, in which you did make a very nice response. I think that helped curb a lot of the criticism that came the way of the Netolic Pro League over the weekend, and I saw a couple of Reddit threads pop up. Let's start with a couple of facts about what actually happened.
Sure.
Let me list a few, and you can tell me if I'm accurate. Does that sound fair?
Okay, sure.
So first things first, there was a bug in Twitch where you guys could not ban or time out spammers, so your only option was to put the chat in subscriber-only mode as a means of controlling spam, not a means of enticing people to subscribe. Is that correct?
No. Pretty much what happened is this. We were hitting the bottom of clearing the chat because there was massive spamming and they were just clicking. And the thing is, because I travel too much, so I leave the account open. Everyone in the chat uses the account. They have the username and the password. That was a big mistake. Yeah. The thing is, they were clicking clear the chat so often they got bugged. We were not able to chat ourselves. We were not able to ban people, mute people, anything. there were a few things that were working. It was ridiculous. We post some pictures about it on Facebook. So the only thing we were able to do was just cat the chat, so there was no more spam. I read some comments because it was brought to me after I came back, and they say, "Hey, look, this is happening." I was like, "Okay, let me read it." So I read everything. I was like, "Oh wow, really?" It was surprising. Yeah, many people was pissed. They were upset. As soon as I go back, I was like, "Put the chat back," because the chat went back eventually. And yeah, I read some parts. People were saying we were greedy and we were trying to make people become subscribed. There's no way that was our intention. Like, let's be honest, you cannot make a living for $3-4. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. Second was with between the ads, because as I just told you, we have like between 10 or 9 people working with us, and they all have the access to the account. So, well, nobody say who was responsible. Everyone denies all the time, like who's running the ads, because they're clicking. They're pretty much clicking it. So we just kick everything out. Me and another guy is the only ones who had the access. So this won't happen anymore.
Right. I did read that you guys removed everyone that, I guess you probably just changed the Twitch password, so everyone that had access doesn't have it, and you can actually now give it to people that you truly trust. And as Cyborg Matt had pointed out in the response you made, there are ways now with Twitch that you can set up editors that are like super mods that don't have that same power to just do whatever they want and run commercials. And that was one of the things that I wanted to highlight, is that the commercial running was not intentional. That was the result of some mod that was angry or pissed off and that wanted to be a jerk about it. And of course, once they click run commercial, there's no way for you guys to say, no, stop running commercial. Twitch just goes with it. So if he runs a 3-minute commercial, you guys you're stuck. So
exactly. There was a huge fight inside the chat between the staff, like, who the hell is running this ads? What's happening? And we cannot cat the stream because it's on the game. It's in the middle of the game. There's nothing we can do.
Right.
So eventually we just, change the password. We still don't know who between us is, but we're not going to hear, we're going to be pointing on who was responsible. But yeah, that's sorted out. So also, to be honest, we're actually new into the streaming. Mostly me, because I'm in China, because I've been working and living in China the last 5 years. There is another platform which is called Feng Yun Shiwo, which is very popular right now. And there are many. There is a Sina, also the same company who has the software QQ. So everything works in different way. Every platform have different things. Right. So coming back to US, because I fly back very often, Twitch was pretty new. I was looking into it, how it works, and that's why we actually have to get somebody else to do it for us. Because I'm not a streamer. I cannot cast. I don't have the voice. You have a good voice, Some people is naturally talent. They're naturally talent to just approach to people and give them a good speech, and people will follow it. Even they're not looking at it, they will get the feeling. Like Toby has an energy and everything. So that's why we get people to help us, to get this going.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. You're spot on in that it's a multifaceted issue when you run a tournament. Streaming and tournament organizing are just almost completely different skill sets, so it can be tricky if you have a small team. One of the questions a lot of folks had that I've been curious about myself, though, upon a little bit of further investigation, I think I've been able to discern the actual answer. Why were you guys so concerned with stopping the spam in Twitch chat when your stream had, I think at one point you guys were almost at 20,000 concurrent viewers? At that point, Twitch chat just kind of breaks down. It's basically nothing but spam, with people spamming memes and macros and all that stuff. Why did you guys put such a high priority on blocking spam when that seems like almost an impossible feat when you have that many viewers on one channel?
Okay, going to that point, actually we hit 21,000. That was the most we got so far.
There you go. Congratulations on that, by the way. That's a nice number.
Thank you. Yeah. What happened is this. In my case, I'm 26. Some of the other guys, they're the same age, some even getting to 30. We don't have much time to keep reading every single comment about childish, I'll be honest with you. And it's just so much that you get to the point like, okay, this is ridiculous, it's out of control. And you even see other people, even on the same chat, saying, please, somebody delete all this chat. People is complaining at the same time about the chat, saying this chat is terrible. People is just insulting, spamming and stuff. Yeah. There is nothing we can do. And we cannot tell the streamer as well, because some people is complaining about the stream. We cannot say, hey, this is happening. Can you fix it? Because they're already in the game. They're There are many things that people don't understand that's happening at the same time, and we cannot do it. We cannot fix it right away. Once the game is over, yeah, we'll tell them, hey, this happened. Could you fix for the next stream? And that will happen. But before that, it's really hard to do it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I don't know if this might have been posted in the Reddit, but I don't know if you're familiar with the R9K, that Robot 9000 thing that.
Yeah, one guy came to us. He sent the same day he emailed me. I read his email. He say, "I have this," and blah. I was like, "Oh, really? This exists?" You know, I had no idea. He installed it for us, so now it's set up. It's actually really good. I like it. But some people is not happy yet about it. But
well,
you know,
the spammers won't be happy about it. But
yeah,
you can't put too much stock in what people in Twitch chat are saying, because it is a haven for trolls and spam and all sorts of other stuff. So. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that you guys have resolved most of the issues revolving around that stream issue. And I have a few more questions about the tournament itself, and then I want to move into more kind of macroscopic stuff about speed gaming and what your plans are in the future with them. I want to ask you about the tournament ticket. The tournament ticket price for Netolic is $10. How did you guys come to that price point?
Actually, we didn't. We submit a price to Valve. They review the information of the tournament, everything. They are the ones who submit the price. We submit a lower price. It wasn't from our ending on setting the price. It was Valve decision. And concerning the Penguin, I know many people is not happy about it. I spoke with the developer because when he showed me, I like it. For me, I was, but I didn't realize, the graphics and movements and so that kind of stuff. But it's gonna get an upgrade, hopefully in the before the third cup. So it's gonna have animations and stuff, and it will change a little bit. Coming to what comes in items, also, for us was new. Like we don't know if people want a career, people want a set or just a ticket, because all the tournaments we had before, we never had anything like that. This is our first career, first item, whatever. But it will, improve little by little, like everything else.
Yeah, I would love to have some real tangible data about tournament ticket sales and price, because I know for my selfish needs, I like tickets to be as cheap as possible with no courier, no HUD, because all I care about is casting and spectating. I'm happy with my naked Greeble. I don't need couriers. To me, that is just not a good use of my money. But I understand how it can be a profit center for tournaments. Do you have any insight or data-driven analysis? Overall, is it better to have a cheaper ticket with less stuff that more people can buy, or is it better to have that higher price point where, less people will buy it, but you still make more money in the long run because it's more expensive? Can you speak to that either way?
Okay. Coming to the price ticket, with this experience now, we actually think it's actually just better have the ticket, no courier included or anything, and have the price lower, because it's actually better for the same community. Many people can't afford even, it's just $10. Some people can't have that money. But if the price is something like, okay, $2, they'll be like, okay, fine, it's not that much,
right.
But also, I will remind that most of the tournaments we're running, it's actually not just one region. It includes both regions, East and West.
Right.
And if you compare the last two pro leagues, we're implementing different teams, different kind of games, and it's getting to improving. When it comes to the revenue, actually there is no revenue, because this is what happened. All the stream that you can see on Netolic, it goes 100% to the streamers, to the guys who are casting, because I don't have the time. They spend their own time, computer, internet, whatever. So I told them, okay, guys, you do this, it's for you.
Right.
You guys are speaking on it, doing it, you get the revenue. So the stream revenue goes for the same streamers, to the casters. Now, whatever comes for the sale tickets, because this is actually the first big one before we had small ones, everything went to the guy who makes the website, does the images. We have a new guy who's doing the videos. So everything is, given to them. Because in my case, I have a full-time job, so I don't really, I don't think I will make a living or compare my job with this at this moment.
Right. Interesting. So, and on the way of casters, I read a little bit about how you guys have picked up your casters, and it's basically kind of been the buddy system. As one guy kind of moves out, they recommend someone, and they kind of move in. There were some criticisms, and I didn't watch too much of the stream, so I won't speak to it either way, but I did read some criticisms about the casters you guys have. Are you happy with your current broadcasters? Are you going to react to the criticism that's been on Reddit? What's your thought on that whole thing?
Well, coming back to the casters, okay. Actually, we're like that. We're open to anyone who wants to work with us. We post everywhere. I'm sure that you can find tons of posts. We say, can anyone stream our tournaments? We're looking for people who can do it, and very few came to us, and we took them because there was nobody else to help us. Even though we had few great casters like Blaze, he started with us. He pretty much started his career in streaming with us. He was casting our small tournaments. We have weekly tournaments for $50-$100. This is from last year. Also, we had Big Breakramount. Something I cannot very really spell his nickname, but he's also a great caster at the moment. He also started with us. And the thing is, once they start with us, they became very popular, and then they move to the next stage, which is, everyone will do that. If I was them, I will do the same. I'll go to the next one and keep improving and get into bigger stage. Sure, so that's what's been happening, and the reason I keep the casters is because they keep with us. They're still working with us. They're still supporting us. That's the main reason. But as I say, we're open to anyone who wants to help.
All right, well, we'll talk after the show then. Dota Radio is always looking for stuff to cover, I have to say. And on that same note, one of the last things I want to ask you about the tournament, and I'm really curious about your thoughts, is you are in sort of a unique position as both a team manager, team owner, and a founder of a tournament series. Talk to me about other streams broadcasting from a Dota TV ticket. Now, I will reiterate, the Valve stance is that is okay. And of course, it is the Twitch stance that they will remove those streams out of respect to the tournament. So already we sort of have conflicting points of view with who's really in the right here. I know where you stand. You posted very publicly in your response that you did report the people that were streaming off of tickets to Twitch, which you're certainly within your rights to do. And on Dota Radio, we've bumped into that issue a little bit, where we started with Star Ladder, just covering it, and we were sort of embraced with open arms, so to speak. And then casting MLG, we tried to do D2CL. Both of those were slightly specific situations with why we ran into issues, but the moral of the story was they were mad that we were taking viewers away from their stream. Can you speak to that at all? Do you think that there is any sort of middle ground where new and upcoming broadcasters can do something where tournament organizers can be okay with it? Because I really see it from both sides. I see why, as a tournament organizer, you're frustrated that people are funneling viewers. They're watching a stream without your sponsor overlays, all that kind of stuff. But I can also see it from my selfish perspective of I just want to cover competitive Dota, man. I just want to cast the best matches out there. Can you speak to that kind of conundrum a little bit for us?
Sure. Okay. When it comes to the people streaming or tournament, I don't have any issue about it. If you can see, there are between 4 to 5 different channels open, working, and we have no issues, because this will happen. They come to us and say, "Hey, I would like to stream your tournament. Can I get your approval?" We're like, "Sure, why not? You're coming to ask us, and we're here to let you do it, because we were like you just a year or a few months ago. We're just starting." But when people just start doing it without even asking, without saying, "Hey, can I?" It's a bit disrespectful. Let's be honest. Nobody likes that. So then is when we take the actions, and we talk to, because Twitch is also part of the sponsors when the tournament, say, "Hey, this is happening," and they take care of it. We don't even have to tell them what to do. We just say, "This guy is there," and they're okay. We take care of it. Right. But if you come to us, somebody comes who want to get into the streaming and say, "Hey, I want to stream your tournament. Can I do it?" Yeah, you can see there are 4 or 5 channels. We have no issues. Even few of them don't have anything about the sponsors, but we allow them. There is no issue about it.
So I guess to sort of paraphrase what you were saying, it's mostly a matter of respect more than anything else. As long as people ask permission, they're polite, they accommodate whatever you ask of them, which it seems like in most cases really isn't much, then you're okay with it.
Exactly, because as I say, I'm not the guy making the money in the stream, are the streamers itself. Right. But yeah, we have no issues. They have different other channels. They're also making their own money for them. We don't ask them anything, because it's their own job, their own work, their own talent. Because streaming is, as I just told you, it's about talent. If you're talented, you will actually make good things for you.
Right.
That's the thing. So if anyone wants to stream, go ahead, but please tell us before,
Right. Okay. Awesome. Well, that's great. Thank you for sharing that, because that is one of those kind of hot button issues right now. There's a lot of fire on both sides. So I do thank you for that. We're gearing up for a kind of a lengthy interview here, and I do have a few more questions. Hippie or Monolith, do you guys want to interject here with anything that you want to ask about?
Not so much about Netolic.
No. All right. Well, I was about to move into speed gaming. So, and fair game, anything you want, go for it. No? Okay,
Uh,
cool. Think about it. Let me know if you have a question. We'll bring it back in. So talk to us about the future of speed gaming. We've heard sort of rumors, I guess, statements about you guys going to China, and there was one individual on Reddit that was very interested, quote, in the state of the team as they return to Europe and America for 2014 tournaments. How many months will the team actually be together in China, assuming they're invited to TI4? Can you talk to us about the future of speed gaming, the Chinese house, and maybe that Washington, D.C. gaming house that you sort of hinted at?
Sure. Okay, what happens is this. I know, first of all, most people is questioning why it's called speed gaming.
Yes.
And this was a big issue. What happened is the owner, which is where a Chinese investor, he registered us in China with the name Team Speed, which in Chinese sounds kind of cool. Okay, in Chinese sounds like all right, it's okay, but in English it doesn't. It's actually Team Speed. That's how you translate between Chinese to English. And I was telling him this is not right. This is not gonna work. He's by already registered company. I cannot back up. I'm like, can we use? I was trying to deal with him to get a better name, and
Right.
well, it was his decision at the end. I had to respect it. So that whole, we call it speed gaming, but whatever, or nothing we can do. When it comes to the gaming houses, okay, we're supposed to be in China already. When we hired the team, when we had the contracts, we actually had to do a negotiation. We had to tell them like, we want you guys, and we want you to come to China, practice in China, like LGD International is doing. This was pre-or ACE. What happened is the players say, well, we don't actually want to go to China. We would like to work with you, but we want to stay in Europe or, in the West. We want to attend these tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So between negotiations, we say, okay, we're going to have two gaming houses. One's going to be actually, the gaming house is supposed to be in Europe because that's more convenient for most tournaments and everything going. But because I'm mostly in DC, that's the main reason it's going to be in DC, in Washington. Actually, I'm actually here already in DC, in the gaming house.
Yeah.
They will come later. So the plan is they will be between China and US often, that they can improve their tournament skills, like getting into, because time zone changing on different play styles and stuff. The team will be leaving to China in December for at least 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
After that time, we'll be coming back until TI4. That's the main plan.
So while the team is in China for, again, you said 5 to 6 months or so, starting in December, what's going to be the state of the DC house? Is that going to be empty until that's reserved for the team when they come back to America? Or are you guys going to be making use of that house while they're overseas?
Yeah, that's exactly what we have been. The thing is, we're not just into Dota 2. We're trying to get other teams for LoL, Counter Strike, and StarCraft 2.
Right.
So they will be moving into the gaming house while we're in China to practice and everything. And at the same time, if it's possible, because I need the approval of the owner, maybe set up a studio here to have a better quality of stream and stuff. But this is something we're gonna see in the next months.
Yeah. It depends. The nice thing about setting up a studio is you can do it at sort of whatever budget you want. You can set up something as long as you have a nice space. I mean, the budget for our little studio here is pretty low. I think we've done well, gotten a good bang for our buck, so to speak. So you can really just need a room with a computer and a camera, and you can make it happen. But that's exciting, man. I know a lot of folks are looking forward to seeing how the team benefits from being in China. So that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, that's the main thing. We actually want the team to go to TF4. We know they were not able to do the roster changes they had in 2013 this year,
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully for next year, having good results, they can be there. That's the main goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us here. I'm glad you were able to shed some light on some of those kind of hot button issues and also reiterate some of the stuff you posted in your statement on Reddit. Any shout outs, any closing thoughts you want to make for us?
Sure. Well, thank you for inviting me. Shout outs to all the speed gaming players and the fans, all the guys who follow them. You guys are very supportive, and that's it. Also, I know, and I apologize once again for what's happening with Netolic, but we're going to have some improvements in the coming weeks and days.
That's what it's all about, man. If you move forward, the internet luckily has some ADD. They've got a short memory span, so if you guys step it up, fix those issues, no question. All will be forgiven, and Netolic will be reigning champs once again. Hippie, Monolith, do you guys have anything else you want to add here before we wrap the episode?
I'm good.
You guys are
No,
clear?
I'm good.
All right, awesome. Again, thank you, Mr. Fernandez, for joining us. Follow Speed Gaming at Speed Gaming TV. That is sort of the official Twitter, and it's low on the follower count. It's low on the tweet count as well, so maybe they'll tweet out the VOD for us, and make sure you follow them, guys. Again, it is at Speed Gaming TV. Again, thank you for joining us here on the Dota Radio Morning Show. Remember, you can email in at any time. We're curious about what you have to say about the show. Are there topics that you want covered, guests that you want on the show? Let us know. morningshow@dotaradio.com is the place to be. Remember to check out our portal as well, dotaradio.com/morningshow. The portal is now live. It's got everything you need. This episode will be archived there. If you missed it, you can check out the VODs on YouTube. They will be uploaded immediately, as will the audio-only archived broadcast. So, until next time, guys, the next episode will be live Wednesday, October 30th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are still lining up our guest, but until then, guys, be kind to yourselves and be kind to each other. We'll see you on Wednesday.